Hey, how's it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward, with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding live video chat for Friday, November the 16th. And today, with this video chat, we're going to dive into some different areas of bodybuilding and fitness, not just the mechanics of building muscle and losing fat, the training, the nutrition, but dive into, I guess, a deeper level of what goes on when it comes to achieving these goals. I mean, the transformation that happens behind the scenes, because this is more powerful than the actual physical changes. I personally feel so anyway. I feel that there's so much more to bodybuilding and fitness that we kind of don't really focus on, but it's like the underlining reasons why a lot of people get involved with it in the first place, and it's the underlining reasons why people stick with it for the long term. And I'm just going to discuss some of those things today. Now, I mean, chances are, if you've been working out for any length of time yourself, you've already experienced some of this stuff. You have your own reasons. You've experienced your own benefits, maybe consciously or subconsciously. Sometimes people are not really aware of things like this until we have a discussion like this, and then they're like, oh, yeah, that really makes sense. So we're going to kind of dive into the overall benefits that you're going to achieve from living a healthy bodybuilding and fitness lifestyle. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean bodybuilding to the point of competing in bodybuilding, but bodybuilding in its true sense of building up your body to become the best version of yourself. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Now, before I get into actually talking about that and answering your questions and stuff, I just want to make sure that everything's coming through loud and clear, that you can hear me, that you can see me, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to check with our live video chat window there right now. And for those of you who are tuned in live, I know we have several people logging in right as I speak now. There's lots of people tuning in at this moment. If you can hear me, see me, this is coming through loud and clear, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. All right, let's see. Loud and clear, loud and clear. You sound fine. Perfect. Good stuff. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. All right, so as I'm covering this stuff, as I'm sharing my story, as I'm sharing some insights here, please feel free to post any questions, comments, or feedback in our video chat window there. I would definitely appreciate it. The more support, the better. I mean, usually I don't get to answer all of them, but I do go through and I read them all afterwards. So even if I don't get the chance to answer everybody's question or address your question live on the video chat today, I will go through and answer or read them after. And again, I do appreciate all the feedback and support. Some people are asking, is it dark there already? Yes, it is. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon where I'm to right now, and it is dark already. Yeah, I mean, I'm up in Canada, up in Newfoundland, and in the wintertime, it gets dark early. So that's kind of a side thing here, but I find that really, that whole seasonal thing does affect me to a degree. I find that the lack of sunlight in the wintertime, and I find that it really does have an impact. I don't particularly enjoy it, so I try to make sure to get out and enjoy some natural sunlight as much as possible. And earlier today, I was actually out. Had to do some chores out in the garden. One thing that I had to do today, switched over my snow tires on the car. So this is totally off the topic entirely, but I was outside for a couple hours a day, out getting some natural sunlight, getting some fresh air, which is always good. But yeah, it's, as you can see by the window, it's pitch black outside already, and it's only 5 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so we got the videos come through, the audio's come through. So let's just dive into this. First off, I want to share how I got involved with bodybuilding to begin with, because this wasn't a natural thing for me. I mean, like, nobody in my family was a bodybuilder. Nobody in my family was really hardcore into fitness. My father did work out. Like, he did have a weight set down in the basement, and which he used on and off. But one thing that he did do while I was young and growing up was he was a jogger. So like every day he would go for a jog, and that was his thing to keep himself physically active. So that helped to implant some seeds of fitness and being healthy and active from a young age. But other than that, I was never around anybody who was involved with bodybuilding. And throughout school, like even, grade school, going on up through, high school. During that time, I got picked on and bullied, and I was not so much physically, but a lot mentally and pushed around, like made fun of and bullied and pushed around. And that had a big impact on me early on. And that's one thing, because I can remember back in elementary school, we moved to a new town. So I started at a new school, that whole transition of going somewhere where I don't know anybody. And I found that just couldn't fit in, getting picked on and bullied because, you're the odd kid of the bunch and stuff. And I found that that would really impacted me. And I wanted to join martial arts. I kind of related to around this time, the movie Karate Kid came out, the original one, right, with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san. And I could relate to that whole thing, where Daniel-san moved to a new place, people were picking on him and bullying him, and he didn't quite fit in. And then, of course, learned karate, and boom, everything happily ever after. So I kind of had that kind of mindset. I said, I need to learn karate. I need to learn it. So I actually did sign up for some martial arts classes. It wasn't karate. It was a kung fu class, but at that level, the beginner level, it's very similar. So I did that for several years, and then through that I got involved with weight training and did some weight training for several years, and that helped to build up my confidence, build up my self-esteem, and that had a big impact on me. So I mean, from being bullied and picked on in school, I wanted to take some action. And that was my early motivation. And I found that weight training and, of course, martial arts training helped to build up my self-confidence. That was the big thing. And to help go along with that, my father was very supportive, and he helped as well. So like, as I got involved with it, like early on, he even joined the martial arts class with me. And we went, as like he went to the, it was like a family group where, there was a lot of parents and their children going there. So it wasn't a hardcore martial arts class by any stretch, but still, it was good for that age for building up my confidence and self-esteem. And then as I got a little bit older, I wanted a weight set for my home. And, he helped set that up, and he helped me to start working out in our home gym and in our basement. That's where I got started with bodybuilding and fitness. And that really had a big impact because, like I said, growing up, I was very shy, very self-conscious of myself, and weight training helped to build me up, right? It helped me a lot in that area. So that was huge. I mean, that was more valuable than the physical size and strength that I gained. I mean, yeah, the size and strength was cool. I mean, that helped me with sports and athletics and all that kind of stuff. But the confidence and the internal building up made a big difference, because now you're not shy to try something, you're more outgoing, you're more willing to take action and do something. So I found that that had a huge impact. And if you just take that to the larger scale, like if someone's constantly concerned about themselves and self-conscious, or if someone is more confident, feeling more self-assured, and willing to go for it, willing to try something new, I mean, that can make a huge difference over the course of your life. I mean, in so many areas, just having that confidence to be willing to try something, to do something, to take that, to put yourself out there on the line and to see what happens. So that's what I found being involved with bodybuilding and fitness can do, because it pushes you. I mean, that training in the gym is not only physical training, but it is mental training as well. I mean, you're going in there. I mean, first off, to even join a gym, that's usually a big intimidating thing for a lot of people. I've discussed this with a lot of people who've, over the recent months, I've been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching calls with people. This is something that I've been offering to kind of try and get to know people on a personal level and to see what kind of struggles and challenges that they're dealing with. And one thing that I hear a lot is people are intimidated to go to the gym. So just the fact of getting your butt out the door and to the gym, even if you're a beginner, you're doing something new, the act of doing that can build you up, because that stretches your comfort zone. That expands your comfort zone and expands who you are as a person. I mean, when someone's starting off, it really doesn't matter what you do when you go to the gym. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I mean, like a lot of people say, oh, what workout split, what's, training days, what exercises, what sets, reps, this, that. None of that stuff matters. What matters is just the fact that you're putting yourself in that environment, putting yourself around those people, exposing yourself. And I mean, what I mean by exposing yourself to other people, and to allow yourself to feel vulnerable in that you're doing something that you're not sure of, right? You're putting yourself out there, and that builds up so much internal muscle. And what I mean by that is your self-confidence to be able to do that, to get out there, to stretch your comfort zone, and to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I mean, that is huge. If you can adopt that as a mindset and as a mentality, to be willing to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable. I mean, chew on that for a minute. I mean, it's a bit counterintuitive, but if you just think about that, that will open up so many doors and so many avenues. I mean, it's not always going to work out. Sometimes you're going to make a fool of yourself and put your foot in your mouth or whatever. But if you're willing to do that and to take those actions, then it's going to open up so many more doors and opportunities for you that you otherwise would never have achieved if you were too self-conscious and too reserved to even try. So I mean, again, just going to the gym for a beginner, those of you who are like, I have some people now who are watching this, you've probably never been to the gym before, you're pondering the idea, or you're, I don't know, just do it. Bite the bullet and do it. I would recommend, if you've truly never been to the gym before, invest in a trainer, even if it's just for a month. You know, invest in a trainer to help show you around, show you the machines. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you will save so much time, so much effort, and so much frustration by just doing that. If you are willing to invest and actually learn from someone else's experience, someone who's been there and done it, learn from them, let them shortcut the process for you. The long, hard way is to try and figure everything out on your own. If you're willing to go out there and invest in a trainer, and that will shortcut the process for you, immensely. So that was one thing that I would definitely recommend for people who are new. And after that, if you want to kind of do it on your own, that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of resources available nowadays. I mean, you got endless workout videos on YouTube. You've got, endless nutrition programs that you can search and follow. I mean, there's so much information out there that you don't have to rely on a trainer if you don't want to. I mean, you can certainly do it on your own. But for someone going to the gym initially, to get over that hurdle, to help you learn the exercises and to shortcut that initial beginner process, hiring a trainer is probably one of the best investments that you can make. I mean, it also helps to commit you to the process to get you over that initial hurdle, because that initial phase, that's when you are the most vulnerable. That's when you see people sign up to the gym, probably try it a couple times, and then quit and never go back. And we see that so often, right? I mean, the New Year's boom is the prime example of this. Every single year, you'll have people, that January rush when people set their New Year's resolutions and they're all full of piss and vinegar because they told everybody that I'm going on a diet, I'm going to get in shape, this is going to be my year, blah, blah, blah. Then they sign up to the gym, they try it, for whatever reason, they're only half committed. They verbally said it, but they're not, emotionally committed. And then you see them dropping off. I mean, there's other factors that go into it as well, but a lot of it is because they're not committing themselves to the process. But hiring a trainer, and even prepay for it, so you're committed. You got some skin in the game. You got money on the line where hey, I got to show up because I don't want to waste my money. You will get so much benefit from that it will be powerful. All right, getting back to getting some of these other things, we were going to talk about some of the impacts that bodybuilding and fitness can have on your life. And one of the things, as you are growing older, I mean, as you're getting into your teenage years, into your 20s and 30s and on, if you take care of your health and fitness, that is going to carry over into so many other areas. It's going to expand opportunities and open doors that you would never have had opportunities to otherwise. And let's just kind of take it from some practical point of views. I mean, if you are in good shape, you take care of your health and fitness, how does that make you feel? I mean, like if, for example, you look in the mirror and you're actually happy with what you see. I'm not talking about having to be a ripped bodybuilder where you could, win a competition or you're cover model of Men's Health magazine or anything like that. But if you're in the point where you're in good shape and like you could go to the beach, for example, and be totally comfortable at the beach or at a pool or somewhere like that, where you're taking your shirt off and you're out there and you're kind of putting yourself on the line. right? If you could be comfortable and not have, you know, a saggy physique or excess rolls or feeling painfully skinny or scrawny or anything like that, but you just got a good, healthy, athletic physique, that will increase your confidence to such a degree. And that's going to carry over into so many areas. I mean, that confidence is going to help you when it comes to meeting new people. I mean, if you're a single guy and you're trying to meet a girl, that's going to help you to have the confidence to go up and approach other women and to start that conversation and to make those connections. I mean, that's a huge motivating factor for a lot of young people. I know it was for me, like throughout my late teens, when I was a single guy, that was a big motivating factor, you know, to be in shape, to hopefully use that to stand out from the competition, right? I mean, I'm not a tall guy. I don't really have any special skill sets or anything like that. I'm not, you know, overly good looking or anything like that. So I said, you know what, if I can build my body, that will be something to kind of make me stand out from the competition. And that was one of my major motivating factors throughout my teenage years. Then, of course, I met my wife when I was 20. We've been together ever since then. I mean, it's crazy to think about it like that, but it's true. I met her when I was 20 years old, and we've been together ever since. So obviously, when you're in a relationship, then it's not to meet new people, but being in shape physically can help to keep that relationship strong and healthy. I mean, if you find your partner physically attractive, then that's just going to keep the relationship strong. I mean, unfortunately, as people, you know, you could be a husband and wife or a long-term relationship or something like that. Unfortunately, the longer people are together, especially if they're letting their health and fitness and body go, they drift apart. You know, they're kind of get to the point where you're no longer lovers. Now you're just kind of roommates. You know, you're just friends. You're just together because it's convenient, or you need someone to help pay the bills, or, you know, you've got a house together, or stuff like that. But there's really no passion or intimacy there anymore. And not going to mention any names or nothing, but I've had coaching calls with people who they've actually openly admitted this to me. Like I remember there was one gentleman, he came to me looking for some help, and he admitted that, like, he has not made love to his wife in over a year because he's so embarrassed about his body. And obviously, if he's embarrassed about his body, then chances are she's not finding him physically attractive either. And where is that going to go? Like, if you just take that scenario right now and, you know, look at the long-term forecast of what's going to happen because of that, where is that going to lead them down the road? I mean, to me, I see divorce really coming up. I mean, that's what I see. If you're not in love with the person you're with, that could lead to divorce. So, I mean, you not taking care of your health and fitness and going to the gym and working out, it's not only your body, your health, your fitness, but I mean, you could tear up your whole family over that. I mean, that could be the root that separates the family. So, I mean, this is so much bigger than just you. That's what I really want to get across to people. I mean, as I've, you know, become a father, I've really gotten a new perspective. And as I've started talking to other fathers and grandfathers in the whole health and fitness industry, and just getting that deeper insight to realize just how powerful this actually is. This goes way beyond, you know, setting a new bench press PR in the gym, or getting six-pack abs, or any of that stuff. I mean, this can be the glue that holds your family together, that makes you feel like a strong, you know, confident man to provide for your family. There's so much more that goes into being the best version of yourself, and it all starts with your health and fitness. I mean, if you're not taking care of your health and fitness, then everything else is just going to start to deteriorate from there. Your confidence is going to deteriorate. When your confidence deteriorates, your performance deteriorates, your job performance deteriorates. I mean, it's the foundation for everything. I mean, I'll give you an example in terms of, you know, kind of put things in perspective. Let's say you're applying for a career and a job, and you're up against somebody else. Let's say it's you and another applicant. Two people, both equally skilled, both equally experienced, both have, you know, as far as the technical skills to do this particular job, both are equal on par. One is 50 pounds overweight and obviously doesn't look after themselves physically. One is healthy and in shape and looks after themselves. Who would you choose for that job? Let's assume you were the employer looking at this, and you want to have someone to be the face of your company, right? The face who's going to do it. Both equally skilled people. One, obviously fat and out of shape. You can tell, this guy doesn't care about himself physically. I mean, he's a fat slob, right? Let's just be honest. He's a fat slob. The other fella, he's looking after himself. He's healthy. He's in shape. You can tell that he has pride in himself. Who would you want to have working for you? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? I would want to have the person who's taking care of themselves, because I know what goes into that. I know that, okay, if he's taking care of himself physically, then that's going to carry over into his job performance and to everything else. It's going to help with his family life. It's going to help with his work performance, his confidence. There's so many things that can help with. So this can also help excel your career, even if it has nothing to do, if your career has nothing to do with health and fitness directly, indirectly, because you're becoming the best version of yourself and you're projecting that internal confidence that health and fitness provides, that could help you with your career, right? I mean, it's huge. And if we even take it to a step further, let's look at people who are a bit older. I mean, I'm kind of making this transition with my bodybuilding and fitness channel. And you've seen me make a lot of videos lately talking about starting again, getting fit over 40. And this is something that I've had to deal with personally, because in my own situation, I was a competitive bodybuilder throughout the late 90s, throughout the 2000s. I did my last competition I did was in 2011. So I was competing in bodybuilding from 1995. That's when I did my first show as a junior, 17 years old, got on stage in 1995. And I've been competing regularly right up until 2011. And 2011 was the year I did my last show. After that, I didn't stop working out, or I didn't neglect it, but because I wasn't competing anymore, it didn't have the same passion, the same drive, the same motivating factor. So I found from 2011 onwards, my physique went through a very slow decline. I was still working out, I was still active, I was still making workout videos on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't have the same level of drive that I did as a competitor. Because when I was a competitor, I mean, I was really pushing myself. I had an external goal, something to drive me. I wanted to win at the local level. I wanted to become Mr. Newfoundland and Labrador. I wanted to win at the regional level, competing at the Atlantics and stuff. And I had these motivating factors that were driving me. So the competition side of things I found really helped. But once I took a break from that, I found that I was starting to dwindle, going downhill. And it amplified, it hit its peak around the time when my wife got pregnant with our son. And what I found then is, she started to, get pregnant and gain weight and everything else, and she wasn't as active in the gym and stuff like that. And I kind of took on the same thing, because we worked out together as training partners for many, many years. So as she started to slack off a little bit, I also started to slack off a little bit. And then, of course, when our son was born, well, he took priority over everything. I mean, anybody who's dealt with having a newborn baby, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is priority number one. Wherever you were on the totem pole, you just drop down and rank once you have a baby in the house, because that is priority number one. And during the first, several months, you're not getting any sleep. It's just, trying to stick to a bodybuilding fitness routine is hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's darn right hard. And my training and nutrition went out the window. I mean, all the stuff that I practice and preach and try to say you should do, I wasn't doing any of it. If I worked out once or twice a week, that was it. My diet was crap. I was eating whatever I wanted. I mean, we'd come home and I say, it's instead of putting out something to eat, I said, look, give me the phone. I'm going to order a pizza. And that kind of stuff, or I'm going to go, pick up something at the grocery store, at the takeout, or at the wherever. I mean, just quick, simple, easy foods, the processed crap that so many people get into. And I just got into the habit. And once you kind of get the momentum going, or you let your guard down, then it's easy to let that spiral. And it can work both ways. Momentum can work both ways for you. You can have negative momentum, where in the case of this, okay, one missed workout leads to two missed workouts, and then more, and then eventually you're been out of the gym for a couple weeks. one screw up on your diet leads to another, and it just kind of lets your guard down, and then all of a sudden your diet's spiraling down, and then now there's no structure. You're just eating whatever the heck's out there. And that's kind of where I got to. And I lost muscle, I gained fat. I mean, I took some pictures of myself, not even at my worst. I took some pictures of myself back around, maybe it was January of this year. And that was even after I was like trying to clean things up for a couple months, right? Did you kind of put it in perspective? And even then I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, look at the size of my gut. I think my waistline was pushing around 39 inches or something like that. I mean, it was pushing there. It maybe even cracked 40. I don't know. But once you're at that level, like you even stop measuring yourself, right? You don't even want to measure yourself or look at pictures or because you just kind of try and put it out of your mind. So I really let myself go. And I was just kind of justifying it. Oh, we're busy. We got the new baby. We got this and that. And, eventually I'll get around to getting back in shape again. I always had that, I'll do it later. And it just kind of snowballed. And then all of a sudden, like I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I was even getting comments, on YouTube and stuff like that, where people were saying, Jesus, does this guy even lift? I mean, you got this fat guy giving fitness advice. What the heck is up with that? So I really kind of like all of a sudden it took it to heart. And I'm like, I've become the fat personal trainer, right? We've seen them. If you go to the gym, you'll see them, right? Might be someone who's been working at the gym for 20 years. And maybe back in the day, they were in shape and they knew what they were at. But now they've let themselves go and they are the fat personal trainer. And even though they know it mentally, they know it's, intellectually, if they're not living it, they're not breathing it, then there's that disconnect. There's that it's not authentic, right? So I was feeling that myself. I was like, here I am telling people to work out regularly, to eat clean, to do all this, and I'm not doing it myself. And I was like, man, oh man, this has got to change, right? I mean, not only am I doing my followers online a disservice, but I'm not being authentic to myself. And I'm thinking, what kind of a role model am I going to be to my son if I keep down this road? Because I wasn't just looking at where I was at right now. I was kind of projecting, where's this going to take me down the road? Where's this going to take me in the future? That's what I was looking at. So I always like to do that, because wherever we go, it's always these little tiny decisions, these little tiny choices that can branch you one way or branch you the other, right? The decision to join a gym, I mean, that can branch your life into such a different avenue versus if you decided, nah, I'm going to stay home and watch Netflix, right? I mean, that little decision can totally impact your health and fitness over the course of, say, the next 10 years. Just the decision to do it or the decision not to, the decision of who you're going to hang out with, right? If you associate with people who are fat and out of shape and don't care about their health and fitness, then guess what? Before you know it, you're going to be fat and out of shape and you're not going to care about your health and fitness. You get around the gym and you're constantly associating with people who are working out and trying to better themselves, even if they're not competitive bodybuilders or elite athletes, but at least they're trying to take action and better themselves. If you associate with that and they become your friends or your acquaintances and you're seeing them on a day-to-day basis, you're going to start to become like them. You're going to adopt those mentalities, those habits, and there's almost going to be like a little competition even at the gym, because you're going to want to keep up with your peers at the gym, right? You're not going to be one of the fat out of shape one. You're going to want to be the one where people say, hey, geez, you're looking good. You're after trimming down a little bit, or if you're a skinny guy, they say, geez, man, you're after bulking up a bit, getting jacked, right? You want those little tiny comments and that little bit of recognition mean a lot, because that means you're actually making noticeable progress. So the people you associate with, and these little choices can have a huge impact in your life one way or the other. So getting back to my situation, when I seen where I was headed to, I forecast and I said, where are these habits going to take me, 5-10 years down the road if I continue doing what I'm doing? And then I didn't like that. So I said, you know what, I got to get my shit together. And I committed to being more consistent with the workouts, cleaning up my diet, and I'm not perfect with it, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was, right? So right now, I mean, If you go out in our kitchen, there is no processed junk food out there. There's no chips. There's no, candies or junk or frozen pizzas in the refrigerator or any of that crap. It's all natural, unprocessed foods. Fruits and veggies. Lean meats, chicken, fish, egg whites, oatmeal. Pasta. I mean, all the good stuff, right? I mean, the fridge is full of good, healthy foods, and that's what we've been feeding our son as well. I mean, God love him. We actually, for his second birthday, we had a cake for him, right? We had a cake because we're thinking, okay, he's 2 years old. We'll make him a birthday cake. We didn't even make him a birthday cake for his first birthday. But for the second one, we said, okay, let's make him a birthday cake. He took a bite of birthday cake, and it wasn't even, just a typical sugary birthday cake. My wife tried to make it this zucchini cake, like it was a homemade cake or whatever, but it did have a little bit of icing on it, this frosted icing that she made. And again, tried to make it from natural organic ingredients and all that. So it wasn't the pure garbage cake that you get like at a store, but it was still a cake and it was still junk food, right? Anyway, God love him. He took one bite of the cake, blah, barfed up all over the table. I mean, because his body just wasn't used to sweetness and sugar. He's been eating, his diet is like a bodybuilder's diet, chicken and fish and eggs and rice and pasta and potatoes and vegetables. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that little Harvey, he eats and he craves. He likes that stuff, right? He enjoys a bowl of oatmeal and eggs in the morning, and he enjoys like chicken and rice and vegetables for dinner, maybe salmon and pasta and things like that. He loves all that stuff. So he's been, eating good, healthy food since day one. And God love him. I mean, there's not even a peck of baby fat on him. He's a lean, athletic baby, which is good to see. But he had a bite of sweet birthday cake, threw it all up. So he didn't even eat any of the cake. So that's kind of a side story, but that's kind of the attitude that I want to take, try and instill health and fitness. And one thing is keep your home base clean. If there's no junk food in your home, then obviously you can't eat it. So that's one thing that I did. And I made it a commitment that every single day, no matter what, I'm going to do some form of exercise. Boom. I don't care what it is. It could be a body weight workout. I actually posted a video on YouTube just recently showing a body weight workout. It could be doing that. It could be going to the gym for a full-on weight training workout, or it could be getting outside and going for a walk. But every day, I don't care, rain or shine, I'm going to do some form of exercise. And that's what I've committed to doing. And the way that I structure it is I do it so the exercise is complementary. So I'm not going to do like 7 days of hardcore weight training workouts, because I know that's just going to break me down, burn me out, overtrain, open the door for injury. But I'll structure it in such a way that, okay, day one might be a hardcore weight training workout. Day two, I might be feeling a bit sore and tired from that. So I'm just going to go for a walk, take the dog, take the baby in the stroller, whatever, go for, 45 minutes or an hour walk. Boom. That's my exercise for day two. Day three might be a hardcore weight training workout. Day four, might be a walk again. I mean, ideally, this is what I like to do. If everything goes according to my plan, I like to do weight training one day, cardio the next, weight training one day, cardio the next. And this way I can stay active 7 days a week, but I'm alternating the types of exercise. So I like to refer to it as yin and yang workouts, because you're getting the high intensity weight training and then the low intensity cardio. High intensity weight training, low intensity cardio. And that alternating, it works with your body's natural rhythm. So you're getting active recovery during the low intensity cardio, and then you're stimulating the high intensity muscle growth and muscle stimulation through the high intensity weight training. So that works well. Sometimes it might even be doing yoga. This is something that I picked up over the last year. I follow along, do yoga workouts, and I find that is a lot harder than it looks, for one thing. But it's a gentle form of exercise, even though it's hard. Like at the end of it, you kind of feel rejuvenated and not beat up. Like if you do a hardcore weight training workout, squats and deadlifts and bench presses and all that, I mean, you kind of feel a bit beat up at the end of it. But with yoga, even if some of the poses are challenging, you kind of end the workout feeling rejuvenated. It doesn't break you down or stress you out to the same degree. So that's another option you might want to do, like weight training one day, yoga the next, weight training one day, yoga the next. But again, I like, for people who are getting a bit older, i.e. 40 or plus, and your recovery isn't the same as what it used to be, that yin and yang style of workouts, high intensity alternated with low intensity, is a great way to structure your workouts, and it allows you to keep active on a daily basis. So that's what I do personally, and I find that it works really well. And that's my personal goal, is I will not let a day go by where I don't do some form of exercise, even if I'm traveling, no matter what. And the thing is, it only takes 20 minutes. If you're really in a jam, it only takes 20 minutes. You can do a 20-minute yoga session at home, and you can even like go to YouTube and search for 20-minute yoga workouts or whatever, and you will find there's hundreds of channels out there that have follow along yoga workouts that you can do. And that's what I've done personally. I didn't even go to a yoga studio or anything like that. I just follow along YouTube videos at home, and boom, it's a 20 minutes, you could have your workout done. You could do a body weight workout like the one that I posted earlier this week. 20 minutes, boom, you can get yourself a killer pump in 20 minutes. Or it can be, if you have more time to invest, go to the gym, go for a long walk or something like that. And that's what you should try to do the majority of the time. But when you're in a jam, you're busy, you're traveling, you've got commitments, whatever, you don't have the time on your schedule, you always got 20 minutes. I mean, stay up 20 minutes later, get up 20 minutes earlier, skip 20 minutes of TV or skip 20 minutes of social media. Boom, that's your 20 minutes for a workout. Even if you don't have 20 minutes, then break it up into 2 sessions of 10 minutes, right? Do 10 minutes of exercise in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening before you go to bed. I mean, you can always make it work if you try to. If you find a way and make a commitment, you can always make it work. And think of where that is going to take you down the road. If you commit to this and make it a habit where it's like, it's non-negotiable, it's something that you do no matter what, because that's who you are. You're going to take care of your health and fitness because that's who you are. That's the type of person. So if you do that, then that's going to compound. So over the course of your lifetime, now you're healthy, you're agile, you're mobile, you're reducing your risk of injury. I mean, you think of people who look after themselves versus people who don't. And I mean, look at your own personal family and friends. We all know people who've neglected their health and fitness over the years. I mean, I have several family members who unfortunately died way before their time. And it came down ultimately to poor diet and exercise, poor lifestyle choices, and poor exercise and nutrition choices. I've had several uncles who've died in their 50s. I've had, I've known relatives. I mean, I know family members who've died, again, in their 50s and 60s, right? Just type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancer, I mean, crap like that. And I also know people who are so overweight that they can't even move on their own. They're not mobile. Like, they can't go for a walk. They can't climb a flight of stairs anymore. I mean, they have to have people tend on them because they're so out of shape and they've let themselves go. And sometimes these people, again, are only in their 50s or 60s. Heck, I'm 40. I mean, that's not that far away when you look at it in the greater scheme of things. So look at it from that point of view. I mean, by taking care of yourself, it's not selfish. You're actually doing your whole family a service because you're providing for them. You're becoming the man that they need you to be to take care of them as a family. But if you compound that and look at it in the long term, you're ultimately not going to become a burden on your family, because all these people who have neglected their health and fitness, they were too lazy to go to the gym or too lazy to eat clean or look after themselves, and they just put it off and got into that rut of that negative spiral going downhill. Now all of a sudden, it's not just about them anymore. Like, some people think, well, if I don't work out, who cares? It's just me, right? It's just about me. But no, it's not. It's bigger than you, because now you've become a burden to your family, right? You see where I'm getting with this? Like, they've become a burden to their family. So it's so much bigger. I mean, right from the get-go, I mean, like, I've covered the full spectrum here. I've shared my story from, as a young guy, getting bullied on in school, to building up your confidence. So, I mean, that's how bodybuilding and fitness can help you in that aspect. To, middle in your teenage years, in your 20s, to build up your confidence so that you can go out and, meet new people, meet girls, attract a mate, to actually help you land a job. I mean, it can help you in all those aspects. It can help you stand out from the competition and build up your confidence so that you're willing to try new things and to be the best version of yourself. And then as you get older again, it can help you to be a positive role model to your family, to help you have the strength and energy to provide for your family and to be a role model, so that your children are looking up to you as an example of who to be, rather than an embarrassment or an example of who not to be, right? I mean, so many times you see parents, they verbally tell their children to do something or not to do something, but yet, right, they do it themselves. Like, for example, like parents might say, hey, you better not smoke while they're sucking on a cigarette, or you better not drink while they're sipping on a beer. If you want to lead by example, you do, right? Children see what you do. They don't hear what you say. So if you want to be a role model, you got to do it yourself. So that's what I'm trying to strive to be for my son. And then as you take it even further, again, looking after your health and fitness so that you can actually be there to provide and help your family, rather than being a burden to your family. So you can take it through that whole spectrum, right? That there's so much more. This isn't just about you. This is about your entire life, right? There's so much here. And that's why I want to share with this. And that's what I'm really passionate about now, is to help people to maximize their health and fitness so that they can reap all these benefits. Again, this goes way beyond just getting bigger and stronger, adding an inch to your biceps or seeing your abs and all that kind of crap. I mean, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, it's so much bigger. And that's what we really need to focus on. So that is my story, rant, whatever you want to call it, for the day. I mean, I know it was long-winded, but it was something that was passionate, and it was kind of sticking in me. And I really got hearing this from doing a lot of one-on-one coaching calls with people. And this is something I've been doing lately. And if you need some help with your health and fitness, you need some help getting yourself on track and laying out an action plan that's right for you. If you've been on and off with your workouts for years, or you just can't seem to get the ball rolling or build that positive momentum in the right direction, and you would like some help with it, then I encourage you, send me an email, right? You can go to my website, leehayward.com. You can send me an email. Even if you go to my website, there's a link up in the top menu bar of the website called coaching. Click on that, and right there you can apply for a free 20-minute consultation. And what this is you and I will schedule a time where we can get on the phone and have a chat. And all it is we're going to discuss your situation, your fitness goals, what challenges you're dealing with, what things you've tried that's worked, what things you've tried that hasn't worked. And we're going to try and come up with a strategy that works for you. That's it. We're going to brainstorm some ideas, and I'm going to get to know you and your situation and suggest some things that can work for you. And if I feel that I can help you with achieving your goals, then hey, we can work together. I can help you with a customized training nutrition program. That's something that I do. If I feel that I can't help you achieve your goals, because sometimes I can't. Sometimes people have problems that are way outside my area of expertise. Like, I focus on the fitness and nutrition, but sometimes people have other issues that might involve mobility issues or different health issues that really need a professional's opinion. You need to see a medical professional in some cases. And if that's the case, I mean, I'll be upfront and honest and say, hey, I can't help you. But I will make some suggestions on what I think you should do based on my 2+ decades of experience in this. And if you feel that it's not right for you or whatever, then that's cool as well, right? There's no obligation, but it's just an opportunity to get some, a set of outside eyes looking at your situation to help brainstorm some ideas on things that might be right for you and help you overcome plateaus and stagnation and sticky points that you may have experienced on your own. So again, if you want some help with your fitness and nutrition program, send me a message or go to my website, and you can sign up for a free 20-minute consultation where we'll just jump on the phone at a time that's convenient for you. You can book a time and we'll have a chat. Simple as that. So then that's where I've got a lot of this insight, is from talking to people. And I've done a lot of these. I've done hundreds of these over the past year, and I've really gotten a lot of insights from listening to people and seeing, realizing that bodybuilding and fitness, it's so much more than just the physical. I mean, it goes into you as a person, your whole being, your whole core. I mean, your whole person in life is related to your physical health. And if you don't have that, then nothing else really matters. So with that being said, I'm going to jump in now and try and answer a few questions before we clue it up. I'm going to probably hang out here for another 20 minutes or so and do a few live Q&A. So again, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about what I've just said, feel free to post it there in the video chat, and I'll do my best to answer those So I'm probably going to like do a quick skim of the video chat, like, and see if there's any questions that are kind of related to what I discussed today. As far as the mechanics of working out, like, how do you build muscle? How do you burn fat? How do you do this and that and the other thing? I'm probably going to save those for like another video chat. That's usually the kind of stuff that I get into. Today, I want to focus on deeper level thinking, the higher level stuff that I just mentioned here, because the mechanics, we can discuss mechanics, and I've got hundreds of YouTube videos out there already discussing the mechanics. I kind of want to focus on the bigger picture of what's going on here and the reason why, rather than so much the how to. So if that's cool with you, I'm going to just probably, as I'm going through the questions here, focus more on some higher level questions rather than just the nitty gritty detail ones. All right, let's see what we got here. So we've got Manuel, we've got Rang is joining us, Jesse, James. James is mentioned here. There's a comment saying losing body fat is really more about your nutrition, not so much the exercise. And I do agree with that. If you can have a structured exercise program, and if you're eating like crap, that can still prevent you from losing fat. I mean, you'll still be better off in the greater scheme of things if you're exercising and eating crap versus not exercising and eating crap. But you need both. And I know some people like to say, well, nutrition is more important than exercise. But I really like to look at it as the 3 keys to building muscle and losing fat. And that's why I wrote the book, the ebook report called The 3 Keys to Building Muscle. You need the training. You need that. You need the nutrition. And you also need the mindset. And all 3 of them are like the legs of a tripod, right? And if you have a tripod without one leg, it's going to topple over. So if you don't have the exercise portion, it's not going to last. If you don't have the nutrition portion, it's not going to last. And if you don't have the right mindset, it's not going to last. So you really need all aspects. But I do agree, nutrition is huge, and very often nutrition is probably the hardest. But it's only the hardest initially. Once you develop those nutritional habits and they become part of your lifestyle and part of who you are, it's actually quite easy, right? So that's one of the things I really emphasize with my personal coaching students. We've got Stuart joining us. Woodulos is joining us. Jonathan is joining us. Tyree joining. Who else? Abio, I might be mispronouncing your name, but we have another one joining in. Ibio Bose. Tyree. We have EMAC Computer. Okay, all right, this is an interesting question. This one's from 80s baby, 90s kid. Does working out increase toughness? Does someone with a lot of muscle have an advantage in a fight? All right. Well, working out does increase toughness to a degree, because just the act of going to the gym and training on a consistent basis and increasing, pushing your body, I mean, that does increase mental toughness. It does increase physical toughness. So, I mean, yes, you will become a tougher person. Now, as far as a fighter is concerned, if you're looking at 2 untrained people, like not trained in a fight. So, I mean, you have someone who's not physically fit, someone who is physically fit. I would put my money on the person who's physically fit if we were going to have a scrap, a fisticuff scrap. But if you put it to the point where now you have trained people, like a trained martial artist or a trained MMA fighter, whatever, someone who's even trained in self-defense or any of those type of things, versus a bodybuilder. If the bodybuilder doesn't have those specific skills, I would put my money on the person who's trained in actually fighting and hand-to-hand combat or whatever it happens to be. So yeah, I mean, working out, being physically stronger, that does have a huge impact. I mean, even if you talk to anybody who's involved with martial arts, like I've been involved with martial arts on and off through the years, and like while they're trying to teach you to, to master your technique and to use the skills and to be smart, like you still can't overcome strength. Like if someone is just big and strong, that is going to have an impact. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that that's the only factor, but it is one big factor, right? I mean, if you're going up like against a 300-pound football lineman, right? He's going to be a tough fella to take down. I don't care who you are or what you are. I mean, that's going to be a tough challenge just because he's so big and so strong. But someone who's trained in fighting arts would probably have the advantage because they would know how to maneuver and work around that. But again, it's a good question. What else we got? Blair is asking a question. At what age do you think muscle starts to deteriorate and you're unable to get it back to a good build? This, it really depends. I mean, I know it's a vague answer, but it really depends on the individual. But the thing is, for most people who are healthy and mobile right now, you can make progress. You can still make progress. So, for example, like even if you're starting working out in your 40s or you're starting in your 50s or even if you're starting in your 60s, as long as you're healthy and mobile and you have your overall health, you should still be able to make progress. And I mean, there have been studies done on senior citizens who have adopted weight training as part of a healthy lifestyle routine. And I mean, no, they're not going to be competitive bodybuilders or powerlifters or anything like that, but they are going to reap the benefits. They are going to see the health benefits, the strength benefits, reversing a lot of the aches and pains, helping to strengthen their bones, tendons, joints, improve their mobility. So as long as you have your base level of health and fitness, then you can make progress with weight training and following a health and fitness, the bodybuilding lifestyle routine. You can make progress. If you're past that and you're to the point where you have some serious health problems, and your body's already starting to break down, then it's sometimes you can get past the point of no return. Yeah, that's definitely true. Like if I'm just thinking, like I have relatives, for example, who've only in their 60s, but they're riddled with cancer and their body is literally starting to break down, or they've got liver disease and all this kind of stuff that hinders the actual function and health of their body. If you've got some sort of disease like that, I'm not saying that you can't make progress, but it's probably to the point where, you're kind of, you've let yourself go past the point of no return. If you've got some, serious disease or serious health challenges at that stage. So if you can catch it before then, like if you're looking at this now and you're healthy, mobile, even though you might be a bit fat and out of shape, but if you have your overall health intact, you can definitely make progress regardless of age. So that's the way I would look at it. And even for people who do have some serious health challenges, I'd check with your doctor first and see what you can do, because more often than not, improvement is always possible regardless of the situation. We have Sylvia joining us. We have Brox33, Azim saying thanks for the information. Love the video. Okay. Canwell is joining us, asking, is it possible to lose fat and build muscle at the same time? Yes, you can, especially if you're a beginner or even an intermediate. You can definitely build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Where you're hearing people say you can't is usually when they're referring to advanced people. Like you're looking at like an advanced bodybuilder getting ready for a competition. At that stage, where they're at such a high level of development already, they're going to have to focus on one or the other. So that's why they'll have an off-season mass building phase, and then they'll have a pre-contest fat burning phase, because they're at such a high level that in order to further enhance their physique, they need to really prioritize on one or the other. And even if you look at an off-season bodybuilder, that's still much leaner and more athletic than the average person who's not working out and looking after their health and fitness. So you can build muscle and lose fat up until a good point. I mean, you can get yourself, 10% body fat, lean, athletic, improve your health. I mean, you can get to that stage by building muscle and losing fat. But if you want to go to the extreme, like you want to go to single digit, get ripped, shredded, photo shoot shape, then you're going to have to prioritize fat loss, and you probably have to sacrifice a bit of lean mass in the process. Like every bodybuilder who goes from lean to contest ripped, they had to sacrifice a little bit of muscle in the process. You're not building muscle and getting shredded at the same time. It just doesn't happen at that level. But for the average beginner or intermediate who's still, you're not consistent with your training, not consistent with your nutrition, you still got a roll of belly fat hanging over your belt or something like that, absolutely, you can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. It's only people who are at the elite level who have to prioritize. All right. Anthony's joining us, and he says, I gotta love eating whatever you want one day a month for me. That's actually a good point. It's kind of something I should mention here with the whole thing that I discussed. When you're following a bodybuilding and fitness routine, you're trying to clean up your nutrition, you want to focus on making progress, not being perfect. If you try and focus on perfection, that's going to hinder your results. And when it comes to your nutrition, you don't have to be perfect. I mean, even if you stick to a healthy nutrition plan 80 or 90% of the time, and then have that 10 to 20% leeway where you kind of eat whatever you want, or you go out to a restaurant and enjoy some of your favorite foods, or Thanksgiving dinner with the family, or something like that, or maybe pizza on Friday or whatever. You can have that scheduled into your program and still make it work, as long as the majority of the time you're focusing on good, sound nutrition habits. Like, you don't have to live like a monk and just eat, chicken and broccoli and brown rice, every single day for the rest of your life. Like, it doesn't have to be that strict and regimented. And a lot of people, they have this misconception. They have to all or nothing. I mean, they're going to be all into it. I'm going to eat nothing but clean foods. I'm going to be super strict, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to eat whatever I want. But you can have a balance. And the balance, surprisingly, I mean, you can make phenomenal progress if you are like 80 to 90% clean. So that means if you look at out of the course of 10 meals, if 8 or 9 of those meals are good, healthy, clean meals, you could have 1 to 2 not so clean meals. They could be a cheat meal or whatever, and you could still make progress. You have to look at the big picture. And from a practical point of view, if you adhere to a diet 90% of the time, or you adhere to a diet 100% of the time, the real world results are not that much different. I mean, but the work that has to go into following a diet 100% of the time versus following a diet 90% of the time is huge, right? I mean, if you allow yourself that little bit of leeway, that little bit of flexibility and freedom to enjoy your favorite foods from time to time, it makes the process so much easier. And I'll tell you one thing that I used to do when I was getting ready for bodybuilding shows. My diet used to be this. I would eat super clean. I would stick to my plan, 7 days a week. But Wednesday night and Saturday night, for my last meal on those 2 nights, I would allow myself a cheat meal, whatever I wanted. I mean, that could be pizza, could be ice cream, could be a hamburger and French fries, could be a chocolate bar, could be whatever. I mean, sometimes I'd even just binge on healthy carbs. Like, I just eat, oatmeal and bread and stuff that I was craving because I was trying to keep my carbs fairly low. So sometimes I'd just binge on clean carbs as well, like big bowl of oatmeal, big bowl of rice, and big bowl of pasta or something like that. But 2 times a week, so 2 meals out of the week, I would allow myself to eat whatever the heck I wanted. And the rest of the meals were very structured, laid out, with my meal plan. But by having those 2 meals a week, Wednesday night and Saturday night, it allowed me the freedom and the flexibility, because now all I thought about, I don't need to diet for 12 weeks or 16 weeks or 20 weeks or whatever the diet was. I don't need to diet for that long. I only need to diet for 3 days, right? I need to diet until Wednesday night. And then Wednesday night, I get to have a cheat. I can enjoy myself. And then once that got past that, then I only had to diet again until Saturday night. And Saturday night, boom, I get to have a treat, right? And that's all I thought. I only had to diet for 3 days. And when you break it down like that, anybody can diet for 3 days, right? 3 days, get a break. 3 days, get a break. 3 days, get a break. And it made it so much mentally and physically easier. Now, if I had structured that diet plan where, say, okay, you have to stick to 100% perfectly clean diet for 12 weeks or whatever. Let's just say it was 12 weeks. Think of how daunting that would be. 12 weeks, you know, before you get to have a treat or enjoy some of your favorite foods. I mean, that would drive most people insane. I mean, some people do it, but think of the torture that you're putting yourself through to do that versus if you had that little tiny bit of flexibility in there and each week you had a couple cheat meals in there each week to satisfy those cravings and to make the process that much easier. So again, you don't need to strive for progress. You only need to strive for perfection. Or shit, I screwed that up. You don't need to strive for perfection. You only need to strive for progress. And 90% clean is virtually just as effective as 100% clean. I mean, you look at a student in school, like let's say you got someone who gets a 90% on their exam or someone who scored a perfect 100% on their exam. It's still pretty damn good. I mean, in the real world, it's still pretty good. I mean, you still got an A or whatever. So it's good enough, right? It's good enough to make progress without overstressing yourself. So that's what you need to look at with your nutrition. Let's see what other questions we've got here or comments as well. Hampton's saying this all sounds very familiar. Says it reminds him of starting strength coach Mark Riccito. Okay. Anthony. Okay, Anthony's making a question here. He says, I think you've gone a little too far by telling people not to be friends with fat people. I think you're taking that out of context. I know I did say earlier in the video chat where I said, like, the people you associate with are the people you're going to be like, right? I mean, like this is a common phrase that a lot of success coaches and mentors over the years have used. They say, look at the 5 people you associate with the most, and that is, you're the average of those 5 people. So if you take like the 5 people, let's say their average income, chances are that's your average income. If you take the 5 people you associate the most, look at their health and fitness, chances are that's your health and fitness, right? You take all the different aspects of the 5 people you associate with the most, and you tend to be the average of the people you associate with. Now, I'm not saying you can't associate with or be friends with people who are not in where you want to be, right? I'm not saying that. Don't take it out of context. But try and aspire or learn from and be motivated and be around people who are at a higher level, people who are going to pull you up rather than people that are going to pull you down. I mean, you can still be associated with people. I mean, I've got friends and I've got family members who are overweight and out of shape and, not very successful and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I still associate with these people. I mean, I still, I have family members and things like that. And that's fine, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you have to disown people. Like you say, hey, you're overweight. I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I'm only going to be friends with fit people. It doesn't have to be like that. But make sure that you are getting inspired and getting input and being around people who are at a higher level so that some of that energy, that positive energy, can help rub off on you. And another thing that you have to realize too, where we are now in this digital information age, this also applies virtually. So even like, for example, you're here watching me right now. This is like hanging out with me for an hour. So it's like we are virtual friends here. So even though I'm not there with you, you're still hanging out with me. So it's almost like, okay, you're hanging out with Lee and you're getting my insights. You're getting my positive energy sent through you virtually through this microphone and that video camera. It's coming through to you. So virtual mentors and virtual associations have a powerful impact as well. So think of that. I'm not saying that you have to disown or totally neglect people in your life because they're not at the level you want to be at, right? Don't take it out of context. I'm trying to say associate with people who are where you want to be, people who you can learn from and be inspired from, and try and get around those people more often. Because the more you associate with people you want to be like, the more you're going to be like those people, right? Show me your network, right? That's the people you're the average of. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So try not to take that out of context. Woodulos is saying, great chat, honest and from the heart. Thank you much. I appreciate it. Mitten saying, great advice. It's good to be around people with similar goals. Saying this has helped. Oh, shoot. Where are we to now? Great chat. I'm just going through some of the comments here. If I see one that's specific, I know there's a lot of conversation amongst yourselves back and forth, which is cool. I mean, I do encourage that. Hey, I mean, we have our own little community here. I mean, you can interact and network with people who join in on the video chats, because these are people who are on the same wavelength. I mean, you might be able to make friends out of some of the, the other viewers as well. Okay. High Speed Drifter saying, you're right about the exercise and lifestyle. We have Calgary's Dash Cam saying, I'm starting to work out again. Good stuff. Glad to hear it. Anthony's asking, do you think music is good when you work out? I myself stopped with the music when I work out and clear my head to think about the muscle I'm trying to train. It's helped me. That's optional. That's really personal preference, whether you listen to music when you work out, whether you do it in silence or whatever. If I'm working out with a partner, I usually don't have any headphones in or whatever, just so I can communicate with my training partner, right? I like to have that open communication. But if I'm working out by myself, more often than not, I will listen to some sort of educational program. I'm not a big music fan, not that I'm anti-music, but I would rather spend my time listening to some sort of educational program. And I like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to audiobooks. Sometimes I'll have recordings of coaching and lessons from some of my mentors, because I mean, I hire coaches and mentors to help me as well. And sometimes I'll listen to some of their coaching and teaching sessions that we have. So yeah, I mean, that's some of the stuff that I like to listen to while I'm working out, because I find that, I'm feeding my mind and strengthening my body at the same time. And a lot of times, like when I go for walks or whatever, I mean, whenever you see me with headphones in, like if you're watching workout videos that I post and I got my headphones in, that's not music I'm listening to. That's probably like a podcast, and it's an audio book, or it's probably like a replay of a coaching or a teaching session that I've attended. That's what I'm listening to. It's not music. But again, that's personal preference. I'm not saying that music is bad, because I know some people, love to crank the tunes, whether that's heavy metal or some upbeat music, or maybe you like to rock out to the oldies. Who knows, right? There's nothing wrong with music, but it's really just personal preference. Whatever works for you. If you get inspired and motivated by listening to music, hey, listen to your favorite music when you work out. Whatever works for you. Okay. What about, this is from Chris. He's asking, what about lost confidence to go back to training after a long time off after kids? I can relate to that to a degree. I mean, I've had kids, or I have a kid, and I let myself go. So I can kind of relate to what you're talking about there, Chris. When you're coming back to the gym after a layoff, you have to accept that you're starting back just like a beginner. So go back with a beginner's mind. I want you to empty your cup, go in there and say, I'm a beginner. I'm going to start off just like a beginner again. Try not to have these preconceived notions or get hung up on what you used to do back in the day or any of that stuff. Like literally empty your cup, right? Empty your cup and be open to learn. Be open to taking new input, new feedback, be open to new ways of thinking. Hire a coach, right? Hire a coach who can help you. I mean, hire a trainer if needed. But just approach the whole thing just like a beginner all over again. And what you'll find, especially if you worked out back in the day, and let's say you were in decent shape a few years back, you will regain your strength faster the second time around. Like you've heard the concept muscle memory, and that is a real thing. If you were at a previous level of strength and fitness, and then you stopped training for whatever reason, and you got out of shape again, it's easier to regain muscle the second time around than it is to build it initially. So some of these dramatic before and after transformations that you see, like, you'll see some pictures of people who like, oh, in 12 weeks, I went from fat to jacked or something like that. A lot of times what you're seeing is they're regaining or rebuilding their body back to a previous level that it was once at. And it's much faster to do that the second time around. So a lot of times when you're looking at these before and after transformations, and some people say, oh, they're fake, they're Photoshop, they're whatever. In some cases, they may be, all right? I mean, I know people will pull slimy, sleazy tricks like that. But in some cases, they are legitimate before and after transformations, but it's people regaining lost muscle or regaining or losing fat and stuff like that because they were already in good shape at one time. They're just getting back in shape, and it's quicker and easier to get back in shape the second time around, or the third time, or the fourth time, or whatever. But if you've been there before, it's easier to get back there than it is to get there the very first time. So, for example, in some of my transformations, right, like I've often done before and after transformations, like when I was getting ready for bodybuilding shows and stuff like that. And even this past year, I've done a little before and after transformation. It's easier for me to get back in shape the second time around than it would be for someone brand new, right? So I'll admit that, right? I do have that going for me. So sometimes you say, well, holy shit, in 12 weeks, you lost this much body fat, or you gained this much muscle, or whatever. And again, it's because I've been there. I've already been at that level at one time before, and now I'm just getting back to that level. So it's technically, it's not new gains, if that makes sense. It's regaining old gains, which happens a lot faster. So if you're going back to the gym, keep that in mind and kind of use that as motivation, right? Realize that, hey, it's not going to take me as long to regain it back the second time around. But again, Chris, the main thing is just to approach the whole thing just like a beginner all over again. And to pace yourself. Another thing I should mention here, don't expect too much too soon when you're joining the gym for the first time or you're coming back after a layoff. What I often do anytime I've been in this situation, the first month back, just go through the motions. Don't get hung up in the details. Like, don't care. I really don't care about what workout split you're following. I don't care how heavy you're lifting. None of that stuff, right? I really don't care. I don't care about the performance point of view. If you're training to failure or none of that matters. At the beginning stages, none of that matters. All that matters is you show up and you go through the motions. So you have like a workout routine in mind. Maybe it's like a beginner's total body workout. Just go through the motions and do those exercises. I don't care if you're lifting just warm up weights and you're literally just, literally going through the motions and not even exerting effort, but you're just getting into the habit, learning the exercises, learning how to do them with proper technique. And then the next time you go to the gym to do that workout, try to do a little tiny bit better. Maybe get an extra rep per set, or maybe add an extra 5 pounds to the barbell or to the weight stack or whatever. And just inch by inch, build yourself up. Don't try to go in there and say, I'm going to kill it. Day one, I'm going to train to failure. I'm going to get a pump. I'm going to blah, 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 whatever. Just go through the motions. Get into the habit. Make it a consistent habit. You're showing up to the gym, 3 days a week or 4 days a week or whatever it is, whatever you have planned. Make that a habit and stick to it. Stick to it. The consistency is what's important. Consistency trumps intensity. If you can be consistent, you will make progress over time. So that's what I would recommend for you as well. Jesse's saying, I sometimes stress eat. Any tips on helping get my mind off it? Yeah, that's a huge one. That is definitely a huge one. One thing that can definitely help, there's several strategies we can use for this one. One, obviously, whatever food you have at home, make it clean, healthy foods. So when you're grocery shopping, only stock your cart in your kitchen with good, clean, healthy food. So don't bring junk food. Don't bring cakes and cookies and crisps and chips and pizza and French fries and whatever. Don't bring any of that. Excuse me. Don't bring any of that into the house. So if you do stress eat or you're going to binge, you have to stress eat and binge on healthy food. I mean, it's a lot different if you're like, oh, I'm going to binge, I'm going to pig out on something and I'm going to have an extra large bowl of oatmeal versus, I'm going to eat this whole bag of chocolate chip cookies, or I'm going to eat this whole bag of potato chips or whatever, right? Like it doesn't have the same impact. I mean, if you look at the calories in like, a tub of ice cream versus a bowl of oatmeal, right? I mean, you could eat oatmeal till your belly is about ready to burst and it's only going to have a fraction of the calories as if you ate the same volume of ice cream. Right? So if you have clean, healthy food, even if you do binge eat on clean, healthy food, the damage is not as bad as if you're binging on junk food. Right? So that's one thing. Now, I'm still not encouraging you to binge, but kind of have that in mind where if you are going to overeat, at least overeat the good stuff. One of the strategies that I like to do to kind of control my appetite. Now, this isn't stress eating per se, but it's just I like to eat. Right? I have a huge appetite. I love to eat to the point where my belly is full, where I just walk away from the table. I'm like, oh man, I just got that good full belly feeling, and then I just like that. So one of the things that I always do is before I sit down to a meal, I'll fill up on a large garden salad. I mean, I'm talking, I get it like a big mixing bowl, like not just these little tiny token salads in a little tiny glass dish. I get a big old plastic mixing bowl, the same thing you'd mix up like cake batter in. And I fill that thing up with salad. So, I mean, I usually like have some like a kale and spinach salad and broccoli and all that kind of stuff. So big old garden salad there. And I'll eat that. And I mean, I really enjoy salad. I've acquired a taste for it. I actually crave salad, as crazy as that sounds. But that big bowl of salad, all that roughage and vegetables and stuff, that gives me a lot of eating volume and satisfaction. So that will help to curb my appetite, give me that eating satisfaction that I crave. And then when I go into eating my meat and potatoes and the main meal, let's say, then I get full so much easier because the vegetables and the roughage just pre-filled my belly. And that gives me the eating satisfaction, so I can leave the table with that big full belly feeling that I just like it, right? I don't like leaving the table still feeling hungry. I almost feel cheated, right? It's almost like, I don't know. I just feel cheated if I don't walk away from the table full. So my strategy to get that full belly feeling is to fill up on the vegetables. So I encourage you to do that if you have trouble controlling your appetite. Another strategy, again, we're getting back to stress eating here. I'm trying to cover this. If there's a particular time when you tend to stress eat, like let's say it's right after work or it's in the evenings or something like that. Like there's usually a time and there's usually a trigger around stress eating. It just doesn't usually happen randomly. There's kind of a pattern and a trigger leading up to it. But let's say in the evening, you have a tendency where you get the munchies and you just want to eat something. Like, for those few hours in the evening before you go to bed, you're like, gee, I'm craving chocolate bars, or I'm craving potato chips, or I'm craving whatever. That would be a time I would recommend to try and do something else. I mean, if possible, go out for a walk, right? One of the strategies that I used to do it would be go to the gym. I mean, a lot of times I would go to the gym later in the evening for a workout because that's the time when I tend to get my worst cravings. Like all day I'm working, I'm busy, I'm doing my thing, and I'm not thinking about food. But then in the evening, when I'm kind of unwinding, that's when I start to think more about food, and that's when the hunger kicks in. So what I try to do a lot of times is I say, well, I'll go to the gym and I'll do a workout, even if it's just go to the gym for some extra cardio. I mean, if you like to work out in the morning, you can go and do some extra cardio. But that takes your mind off eating, actually does something better because now you're burning some calories and helping your body. And then afterwards, you can have like a healthy post-workout meal afterwards. And that's a strategy that I've used over the years. I find that it works well for me to avoid the binging or the eating late at night, is to do some exercise late at night and then have a nice healthy post-workout meal afterwards. The only drawback to that is it may hinder your sleep if you find that exercise tends to make you wired up. Yeah. In my case, I found that it didn't. I found that the workout would actually make me more tired. So it kind of like burn off my energy, and then I come home and have that healthy post-workout meal, and that would actually relax me, and then I would drift off to sleep comfortably afterwards. But everybody's a bit different on that. But those are a few strategies that might help you with overeating and stress eating. Again, we could talk about this. This could be a whole chat in and of itself, right? Because it's a huge topic. But I'm just going to try and oh shit! Look at the time. I've been way long. I'm still going to go. I'm on a roll. I'm going to go for another few minutes here. Let's see what else. How do you stay focused on health when you're trying to get certified for your career? For example, in the IT job market, it's very competitive. I've been More focused on getting certified than my health. Good question. Good question. You have to prioritize it, and you have to make time for it. And again, you have to realize that it doesn't take as much time as you probably think. And what you'll actually find, and studies have proven this, if you take time for your health and fitness, to work your body, to get your heart rate elevated, to improve your cardiovascular fitness, your strength, and your muscular fitness, and all that, it not only is it improving blood flow to your muscles, to your heart, and to your organs, it's improving blood flow to your brain. You will actually be smarter and think clearer if you work out regularly. So I want you to relate fitness and working out to making you smarter, because it will. And if you need proof to back this up, get on Google and start doing looking for studies that like exercise and mental health, or exercise and intelligence, or whatever. I don't know. Like, just go on Google and start searching for studies. If you need the backup, like if you don't want to take my word for it, you need to find your own source of verification on this, then go and look up the studies for yourself. But between you and me, take my word for it. The more you exercise, it's going to increase blood flow to your brain. It's going to increase blood flow to your entire body, and it's actually going to help with your mental health and your ability to think and process and handle information. So if you can relate that, like, because obviously you're in the IT job market, you're probably focused on your studies, you're focused on whatever the how-to of your particular job and career, you're focusing on that. But if you realize, hey, that hour I take out to go to the gym, that's also helping me with my mental function, my mental clarity, and my ability to problem solve and handle stressful situations and to get shit done, when you're under pressure and you're under a deadline and you need to be efficient and you need to think clear. Man, if you're working out on a regular basis, that stuff is going to happen so much better than if you're not. So realize looking after your health and fitness is going to help with your mental health as well, and basically your brain power. So make time for it. Again, it doesn't have to be much, even if you start with 20 minutes a day. And if you look at your schedule, you can find 20 minutes, right? There's always 20 minutes. Get up 20 minutes earlier, stay up 20 minutes later, skip 20 minutes of TV, or skip 20, if you have to, skip 20 minutes of study time. I mean, I would recommend that. And even throughout the day, you can find opportunities to squeeze in exercise. Like, for example, when I was, going to school and going to college, like on my lunch break, I wouldn't just sit around the lunchroom. I would put on my sneakers if I wasn't already wearing sneakers, which I kind of usually did, but I would get outside and go for a walk. Boom, right? I mean, I would do that. So instead of, sitting around on your lunch break, get outside and go for a walk. Even something as simple as that is helping to clear your mind and to get more blood flow and circulation and fresh air and oxygen through your system, which is going to help you make you think clearer and think smarter. So you just have to change how you link it up. Because right now you're probably thinking, I don't have time to work out because it's going to take away from my studies, my career, my whatever it is you're focusing on. But if you realize that it's actually going to help you, and once you start to experience the benefits of doing it, then that's just going to reinforce it, and it'll snowball from there. All right. Jesse's saying, respect, brother. Appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you much. We got Bill joining us. Lee, I was following your routine where you do weights one day, cardio the next, trying to lean out some, but I've been feeling wiped out the next day with weights and losing strength too. Any suggestions? Losing strength on weights day. If you find that whatever your current routine, okay, your weights, cardio one day, weights the next, and you're still feeling wiped out, what I would suggest is to probably reduce the volume or the intensity of your weight training workouts. Scale it back for a little bit, but try to keep the consistency in there. So I don't know what you're doing for weight training right now, but whatever it is, like, for example, if you're repping out to failure on all your work sets, stop your sets a couple reps shy of failure. If you're doing like 5 sets per exercise, scale it back to maybe 3 or 4. Like, just scale back the volume, scale back the intensity a little bit so that you can still keep with the consistency. Because I like that consistency. Again, weight training one day, cardio the next, weight training one day, cardio the next. That's a good habit to get into. And again, for the overall health, fitness, uh, benefits, not just bodybuilding, building muscle benefits, but for the overall health and fitness, and to get that rush of endorphins throughout your body, the blood flow, the oxygen, and all that kind of stuff. I do recommend some sort of physical exercise every single day. So if you find that you can't recover from exercise every day, even though we're alternating weight training and cardio, scale back the intensity so that you can recover from it. So do a shorter workout, an easier workout, and that should allow you to recover fully and have more energy for it. Ryan's joining us. Oh, wait a second now. I just lost my place there. Okay, Ryan says, Lee, do you have any tips for performing bench presses without a spotter? Okay, this is kind of getting into the mechanics. Yes, I do. Just go to my YouTube channel and do a search for Lee Hayward, how to bench press by yourself. I have a full video there. I probably even got a couple of videos, but explains how to bench press by yourself, where you can set the bench up in the power rack and safely bench there without a spotter. Anthony saying, this guy is real. He makes good points and giving a lot of good advice. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. Andre, got the question again. This is more how-to stuff about workouts. I'll get into that in another video chat. Chris is saying, thank you much. You're welcome, Chris. High-speed drifter saying, you're good at motivating people to work out. Have you ever written a book with psychological focus on working out? Seems like something that would be in demand, and I'd read it. Thanks for pointing that out. That I haven't really dove into the mental and the psychological aspects yet, but that is an area that I feel I'm starting to evolve into, and that's probably would be a future project of mine. I would love to write a book about that, because I'll be honest, like with my own experience and stuff, like I feel that I've evolved to the point and I have enough life experience where I'm qualified to speak on this. In the past, I kind of felt like I wasn't qualified to speak on it, even though like I've been a bodybuilder, I've coached people with bodybuilding, I've wrote a book about how to get ready for a bodybuilding show and all that kind of stuff. Now I feel that I've matured enough, I have enough life experience, and I've worked with enough people to feel that I'm more qualified to speak on that topic of the motivating and the psychological aspects. And this is probably just kind of like a personal mental block, but I sometimes feel like when young people are giving life advice, I feel like you haven't lived enough life to give life advice. And I was in that situation myself where I felt like, even though, yeah, I've gathered this stuff and it makes sense, and I've learned these lessons myself, I haven't felt like I was qualified enough to share it or teach it with others. But now I'm getting to that point where I feel like I've lived enough life, I've been through enough, I've worked with enough people that, hey, I've got something to say on this. So I think this is something where I'd like to go deeper into not just the mechanics of lifting and eating and working out and blah, 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 but getting into the bigger picture of what's going on here. What's going on inside this rock on top of your head, right? Going in there and really diving in deep to that. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And it's something that I'm definitely probably going to, as I'm transitioning, because I'm in this phase now where I'm kind of trying to reinvent myself online. It started with the whole fit over 40, getting back in shape thing, but it's going to evolve beyond that. And there's so much competition now in the online fitness space. I mean, there's so many young guys out there now. I mean, on Instagram, and people who are competing, and YouTube channels, the up and coming bodybuilders. I'm not going to try and compete with the up and coming bodybuilders who are, lean and ripped and doing their vlogs on a daily basis and, showing their contest preps and all that. I mean, I've been there, I've done that. I kind of wish YouTube was available back when I was in my competitive heyday, because I probably would have been doing all the same stuff then. But I'm at a stage now where I want to help people with their health and fitness and longevity for greater reasons than just, again, building bigger biceps and getting six-pack abs, right? I mean, that's cool. I mean, I still respect it, still like it, but there's so much more to it than that. So I think the next chapter, if you will, of Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding is going to be more on that angle. All right. All right, guys, there's still a lot of questions coming through, but I tell you what, with that being said, I think I'm going to clue it up for now. So we've gone for about an hour and a half here, which is cool. I don't mind that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for your support. I'm glad you have gotten a lot of positive feedback in that, most of you did enjoy this video chat. The replay will be posted up within the next, well, the replay is technically posted up immediately as soon as I end the chat, but I'm going to have the timestamps for all the different topics that I discussed posted up within the next 24 hours, so you can go back and review that. And if you would like some help with your own workout program, your own nutrition program, I mean, maybe you're in this transition phase yourself and you're trying to get back in shape again. If you would like some help and you would actually like to discuss a realistic strategy that's right for you, then send me a message and I'll be more than happy to jump on the phone with you and we can have a one-on-one 20-minute phone call and discuss your situation and see if we can come up with an action plan that's right for you. Again, there's no obligation, there's no cost on this. I mean, this is a free consultation. If we decide that you want to take it further, then that's fine, we can do that. But it's just an opportunity to get to know each other and see if I can help you with reaching your muscle building and fat loss goals. So if you'd like to do that, send me a message, or you can actually just go to my website at leehayward.com and click on the coaching link up in the top menu bar and sign up for a 20-minute phone call with me right there. So there you go, guys. Have yourself a great weekend, and I will talk to you next Friday. Thank you so much. Over and out.